Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a few moments to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position. Lower your spine and back of your neck and sit nice and long and tall. Opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is. Soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's positive phrase I would like to talk about is favorite things. This season lends itself to a lot of favorite things. Favorite holiday traditions, favorite holiday foods. I know in our house, we are big on the 7 fishes coming up to Christmas Eve. Also, we love baking Christmas cookies. And favorite holiday songs, I counted them this year. I have 16 Pandora Christmas stations that I alternate between. And my car radio is on Christmas songs. So I'm kind of into the Christmas song thing. One of the Christmas songs is the one that Julie Andrews made famous, singing, which is My Favorite Things. And it's a Rodgers and Hammerstein song that became part of the Christmas catalog when she performed it on the Gary Moore show in 1961. Some of us were around to hear that. And that was actually before the movie Sound of Music came out, which was in 1965. And there's so many great lines in it, which encourages you, if those aren't your favorite things, that it just encourages you to think of your own favorite things. So this morning's practice is all about favorite things. Mine. I actually went through and planned to put in a lot of them, and then I went back and counted them. I put little hearts next to my favorite thing and colored them in red. So I have at least 12 hearts on my script this morning. So while we're doing the practice, think of your own favorite poses and favorite things about yoga, and hopefully they'll match up with some of the things I've put here today. So we'll start with the pranayama. My pranayama that is favorite by far is the Dirga, and that's also called the complete breath because it is the foundation for all the other breathing techniques. And this is one I've talked about that is my favorite. So I have actually 2 favorites. The Sama Vritti, which is the equal length breath. That one is based on, as they all are, based on the Dirga breathing technique, pranayama. And both of those are very calming and soothing breathing techniques. I employ those a lot. And then for our meditation, you can pick your own favorite breathing technique while we're doing our meditation. And while we're doing it, I hope you would think of one of your favorite things and express gratitude for it. There's a lovely quote by William Arthur Ward that says, "Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it." So during our meditation this morning, if you would think of one or more of your favorite things and just feel the gratefulness and gratitude for that favorite thing. We also often do mudras, and there's a couple of mudras that are my favorite. Gyan, which is the classic one, and that is about concentration and wisdom. It's bringing your index finger and your thumb together, extending the other three. Prana mudra is extending the index and middle finger and bringing the ring and pinky to the thumb. And that is a wonderful wellness. It's really health orientated. So that one is a favorite of mine as well. And there's one that I cannot find the name of, but it's the one that actually helps to make you have that complete breath. And it's by bringing your index finger to the thumb and then your middle finger to the thumb, extending the other two. And it just enables you, without trying really, to bring that breath all the way down to your stomach, through your rib cage and up to your chest. Again, that whole complete breath, it just enables you to do that a little bit easier. So let's just take a few moments for our meditation. Again, think of your favorite thing, and I will meet you on the mat. You may open your eyes now, and we'll start our asana practice. Starting with nice, comfortable seated position, we're going to do some we're going to start with shoulder shrugs. Just kind of loosen up our shoulders. I often start with that, so let's do that. And again, we're just kind of loosening up the upper part of our body, around our neck, around our shoulders. Just kind of get them lubricated. I don't know if you heard that. That was some snow falling off my roof. Yeah, that or it's Santa Claus and his reindeers. I think it's the snow. A little early for Santa. And then reverse the direction. Just warming up things gently will not shock the system or shock the spot later on when we're putting some more effort into it. And then let's then do our sun breath. So we're going to bring our fingertips to the sides and then inhale deeply, bringing our hands up overhead, palms come together. And then exhaling, slowly bringing them down. And see if you can synchronize your breath with the movement. Inhale. And exhale. Of course, the slower you go, the deeper and longer your breaths will be. So be sure you're bringing that breath from the stomach on up through the rib cage and through the chest. And exhale. Inhale all the way up. And exhale down. This time we'll inhale, bringing our arms up and then twisting our torso to the left and have a nice seated twist. We'll bring our right hand down to the left kneecap, left hand down behind our hips, sending our gaze to the left. Nice straight ahead gaze. And then inhale, sweeping our hands up. And then sweeping them over to the right side, bringing our left hand down on the right kneecap, right fingertips behind our hips, sending our gaze straight ahead. And inhale, sweeping up again, twisting to the left, bringing hands back down on the exhale. And inhale, sweeping up, twisting over to the left and bringing the hands down on the exhale. And sweeping up, we'll do one last time, both sides, sweeping over to the left. And then inhale, sweeping up and turning to the right and bringing our hands down. And returning to center. We're going to roll down on our back. So you can choose your favorite way of rolling down, either knees bent, knees straight, or hands tucked underneath. This morning I'm going to choose the straight leg method, just lowering down so I can feel each vertebrae as they come down, as I come down. And then I'm bringing the knees to the chest, giving them a nice gentle hug. Interlacing my fingers, I'm going to put my interlaced fingers on my left kneecap and extend my right leg out with my toes flexed on both feet, pointing up to the sky. My heel on my right foot's hovering about, I don't know, a foot or so above, whatever's comfortable, and enables you to get that part of your lower back down toward the mat. Support your lower back. And we'll just slowly lower that right heel to the mat. And then bring it back up again. And then bring that right knee back. Give both a nice hug. And then wrap our hands around our right knee, extending the left leg out. Toes are flexed and pointed up. And then slowly, gently lowering that left leg, left heel down to the mat. And then back up again, and being aware of where your lower back is. And then bringing that left knee in, giving a nice gentle hug. We'll do that one more time on each side. Toes are flexed, extending the right leg out, and then slowly lowering the right heel down to the mat. And then back up again. And then that was snow, if you heard that. Hot Santa. Bringing the knee back to your chest, giving them both a nice hug. And then extending the left leg out, toes are flexed. And then lowering the left heel to the mat. And then back up again. Bringing that left knee back and giving them both a nice hug. Then placing both feet down on the mat. We're going to take our right foot and bring it onto our left thigh just below the kneecap. We'll come into a reclined pigeon pose. So this might be comfortable for you and might be your favorite part of reclined pigeon. So I encourage you to stay here. Maybe guide your right knee a little bit more to the right, so you have that upper part of a figure four. And if you'd like, you can lift your left leg up, interlacing your hands behind your left thigh and flexing both toes up to the sky. And then you could stay here or perhaps guide your left leg a little closer to your chest. And just breathe through. If it's painful, you can release a little bit more or just try a few deep breaths to kind of ease that tension. And then we're going to put our left foot down on the mat and slide the left foot all the way down to the bottom of the mat, keeping our right ankle right above the left knee. And I'm going to pivot that right knee over to the left side so that we're in a recline twist with a single leg. You can bring your arm up, right arm up to a goal post, or just keep it by your side. Whatever works best for you. And then with your hand, just kind of guide your right knee to the right, to the left rather. And breathe into that. And then we'll release the right leg, send it back down. Nice stretch, and then bring both knees back up. Give them a nice gentle hug in your chest. And we'll do that sequence again. So bringing your interlaced fingers on your left kneecap, we're going to extend the right foot out. This time, instead of flexing the toes, we're going to point the toes. So both toes are pointed to the end of the mat. And then check on your lower back. Find that spot where your right foot is hovering, but your lower back is nice and snug on the mat. And then just lower your right foot down till the heel touches. And then back up again. And bring that right leg back. Give them both a nice gentle hug. Do that on the other side, extending the left leg out. Both toes are pointed down toward the end of the mat. Find that nice sweet spot and then lower your left heel down to the mat. And then back up again. It might be different on both sides. I think my left side works when my foot's lowered than the right side. So bring that back. And we'll do that again on the right side, pointing the toes, extending them down toward the end of the mat. Lower the heel down to the mat. And then back up again. And bring your your knee back to your chest. Give a nice gentle hug. And then last one, for the left side, pointing your toes to the end of the mat and lowering your heel to the mat and then slowly lifting it back up again and bringing your left leg back, knees to chest, give them a nice gentle hug. And then we'll put both feet back on the mat, hip width apart. Bring the left ankle, rest it on the right leg right below the knee, coming into reclined pigeon pose. Again, you may find this is your favorite part of pigeon pose, and you're welcome to stay here. Perhaps just guiding your left knee toward the left a little bit more. And then for those who like it a little bit more challenging, you lift up your right leg off the mat, flexing both toes up to the sky. Wrap your hands around your right thigh and gently guide that thigh toward your chest. And finding that sweet spot, maybe a little bit, because this has a lot of various touch points of tension in the leg. Breathing into that, and if that doesn't help, then just release or back off from it a little bit. And we'll bring the right foot back down to the mat and slide that right foot all the way down to the bottom of the mat, keeping our left foot on our right leg. And then we'll pivot that left knee over to the right side beyond the mat, guiding it with our hand. We'll do a reclined twist with a single leg. And then we'll bring it back. Bring both knees back up to your chest. And you can either roll over and we'll make our way back up. We're going to make our way to tabletop. Or you can rock and roll yourself back up to tabletop, whichever is your preference. So I'm going to roll up onto a seated position and then bring my hands over and back up into tabletop. And tabletop, where your wrists are right below your shoulders, knees right below your hips, fingers are splayed out, index finger pointing to the top of the mat, navel's tucked to the spine. And just gently pushing down into your hands and making sure your weight's evenly distributed in those hands. We're going to turn our head as if we're nodding no, and we're going to turn our head to the right, just loosen up our neck a little bit, and then exhale, bringing it back to center, and then inhale, turning it to the left, and then back to center. I actually think maybe the exhale to the turn works better. One of these days I'll figure this all out. So turning to the right and then back to center, and then turning to the left, back to center, turning to the right, and then back to center, and one last time to the left, back to center. And then we'll do our cat-cows. This one has a little heart next to it. Many of them do, so I'm not going to go through and tell you each one, but this one definitely got a big heart. So we're going to round our back on the exhale. dropping our head and tailbone down, and then lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our gaze straight ahead for cow, and then exhale, rounding the back, dropping the head and tailbone down. Inhale, lifting the head and tailbone up, cow, and we're going to just continue on for a few moments. Nice deep inhales and deep exhales. Synchronizing each movement to your breath. And we'll do a few more. And if you want in any of these poses, I know some people like to do circles in the cat-cow position. You're welcome to at any point. Do your favorite things while you're doing yoga. So then we're back to tabletop. We're going to go into do some bird dogs. So we're going to bring our knees together so they're touching. And be sure that our weights distribute evenly in our arms, our hands. Then we lift our right leg up, pointing the toe to the bottom of the mat. Again, checking in on the weight distribution in the hands. And then lift the front left arm up. I guess you only have one, not front or back left arm. Well, lifting the left arm up, we're going to point to the front of the mat. And then point our toes on the inhale, flex our toes on the exhale, point, inhale, flex, exhale, point, inhale, flex, exhale, point, inhale, flex, exhale, point, inhale, flex, exhale, point, inhale, and flex, exhale, and bring both hand and leg back down. And we'll do that on the other side. Lifting the left leg up, checking on the weight distribution in our hands, and then lifting our right arm up, fingers pointing to the top of the mat, and pointing our toe on the inhale, flex on the exhale, point 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 on the inhale, and flex on the exhale, and bring them both down. Bring our hips to our ankles, coming into child's pose. You can extend your arms out for a stretch or bring them around alongside of you. Again, you pick your favorite child's pose. You can have a wide-legged child's pose or the legs right underneath you. And you're always welcome to do that throughout any class. And then come back up to tabletop. We'll tuck toes underneath, walk our hands back, coming into a squat position on the balls of our feet, then pushing down and coming up to mountain pose. With mountain pose, we're going to lift our toes up off the mat, spread them apart as much as you can, then bring them back down to the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat and bringing them back down. So you're feeling that nice feeling of mountain pose that is strength and stability and stillness. And then we'll go into our essentials of good posture, just part of mountain pose. Toes are pointing straight toward the edge of the mat. Legs are nice and straight and strong. Soft, gentle bend in the knees. Navel's tucked to the spine. Spine and back of the neck are nice and long and tall. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. The chin is tucked toward your chest, just a little bit. Make sure that back of your neck's nice and long. And the crown of your head is reaching up to the sky. Then we'll sweep our hands up and overhead with a big inhale. And exhale, bring your hands down to the floor, down to the mat. And just rest here for a moment, checking in with our body. You know, last week I told you I threw my back out and it's much better, but not 100% quite right yet. But this forward fold, which I had to modify last week, still a little bit modified, but much better. Then inhale, bring your hands up to your shins, flatten out your back, gaze is down for half forward fold. Really feel that nice stretch of your spine, nice long vertebrae, or spine rather. And then crown of your head reaches down toward the ground and let gravity take over. And inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up overhead. And we're going to come up onto our tippy toes and do a few palm trees / sun breaths. So our hands are up, stretching toward the sky. We're up on our tippy toes. And then we'll slowly bring our hands down on the exhale and bring our heels back down to the mat. We'll do this a few more times. So sweeping up slowly as we slowly come up onto our tippy toes. Big inhale and then exhale, nice even flow. Coming back down to our heels. And then one last time, sweeping up, slowly coming up onto our tippy toes, reaching up to the sky, and then slowly bringing our hands down, bringing our heels down with control. And then we'll bring our hands all the way down again to the mat or floor, bending our knees as we go to support our lower back. And then inhale, half forward fold, really straightening out that spine and back of your neck. And then lowering the crown of our head down toward the mat. And then sweeping our hands all the way up again overhead. Palms come together. And then we'll do some supported side stretches. So right arm comes down, hand comes down and reaches down toward the right knee, sending our body into a nice gentle crescent shape. And then inhale, back up. Left hand comes down, sending the hand down toward the left knee. Nice crescent shape on the other side. Inhale, back up. And exhale, right hand comes down. Send that right hand down toward your knee. Then inhale, come back up. And one last time on the left. Bring the left hand down, sliding it down toward the knee. And then coming back up. Both hands come back down to the mat, bending your knees as you go. And then inhale, bring your hands to your shins for half forward fold, straightening out your spine, back of your neck. And then dropping the crown of your head down toward the mat, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up again. Up overhead, palms come together. Palms come to heart center. We'll do a few leg lifts. So with your foot nicely anchored into the mat, mine feels pretty comfortable where it is right now. I'm going to lift my right leg up and try to maintain a nice straight posture, not tipping one way or the other. Just kind of get the feel of that leg, right leg just lifting up on its own without having to adjust any other part of your body. And then we're going to take that right knee with our right hand, keeping the left hand at heart center, and send it over to the right. And then back down again. And we'll do that on the other side. So again, we're going to get my right foot nice and firmly planted. I'm going to, in my case, spread out my toes and lift my heel up and just kind of get really anchored into the mat for mountain pose. And then hands at heart center, just gently lift my left leg up. Try to maintain that nice straight posture of mountain pose. Find a drishti so I don't keep wavering. And I'm going to take my left hand, keeping my right hand at heart center, take my left hand to the left knee and bring the left knee to the left. And release that. Sweeping our hands, big inhale up overhead. And then bringing them back down to the mat. Bending our knees as we go. Inhale, lifting our hands to our shins, flattening out our back. Gaze is down toward the floor or mat. And then send the crown of your head down toward the mat. And then sweep your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And palms come to the back of your hips. So the palms are on the back of your hips, so the fingertips reaching down. Feet are about hip width apart. Navel's tucked to the spine. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked to your chest. And then gently just drop your shoulders back till you find that sweet spot where your breath is nice and even. And then come back up. Well done, everyone. Moving on to more favorite things. So sweeping our hands up overhead. Big inhale, big exhale, bringing our hands all the way down to the mat. Forward fold. We're going to extend our right leg back, coming into runner's lunge. Runner's lunge with the left knee is over the left ankle. Your hands are framing your left foot. Your right foot, the heel of your right foot is pushing toward the back of the mat. And just really kind of feel that nice stretch all the way up. Your left leg down like the hamstrings of your left leg. And then the tops of your right thigh, the quads. Just really engage in that pose. And then placing your right hand on the mat, we'll sweep our left hand all the way up to the sky and follow our left hand with our gaze. And then bringing that left hand back down to the mat. And we're going to bring our left foot back to our right foot, coming into plank pose. Wrists are right below your shoulders, heels are pushing back, navel's tucked to the spine, elevating your hips just slightly so you're not having the saggy tummy, and then lowering, keeping your elbows tucked to your ribs. And then we're gonna lift our hands up off the mat for baby cobra. Our chin and chest is lifted up also. And then bringing them back down. And keeping our elbows tucked to the side. Gonna lift our chin and chest and then gently push into our hands, come up into regular cobra. And then back down again. And then we're gonna come to up dog. So we're gonna push down into our hands, fully extending our arms and coming up and balancing on the tops of our feet. And then bring our knees back down to the mat, bring our hips back down to our ankles for child's pose. And then inhale, coming back up to tabletop, tucking our toes under. We're gonna lift our hips up to downward dog and pedal out here for a few moments. Arms are nice and straight and strong. Fingers are grabbing into the mat, index finger pointing to the top. Chest is reaching toward our thigh, elevating our hips up. And just take a few deep breaths here while we're walking our dog. And then slowly walk your feet up to your hands, coming into a forward fold. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then we'll go into tree pose. We're going to start with our left foot nicely planted into the mat. Really feel that stability of mountain pose with both feet. And then make sure our left foot's feeling very secure. We're going to lift our right leg up. Making sure that we are nice and straight. And then you can either bring your toe and heel to the mat for your tree pose, or your sole of your foot to your left calf for your tree pose, or sole of your foot to your inner left thigh for your tree pose, keeping your navel tucked to your spine, providing that additional strength. And then from here, you can keep your hands in Anjali Mudra or raise them up to the sky. Bring them out into a V, whatever your favorite tree is. And then without bringing your foot back down, come back where your hands are in Anjali Mudra. And then we're going to take our right leg and send it to the back of the mat, coming into a nice lunge position. And then we're going to come into warrior two from there. So sweeping our arms up to shoulder height. Lunge position is the left knees over the left ankle, just barely seeing your toes. Your chest is open to the long side of the mat. The back foot, the back edge of your foot on the kinky side is nice and snug in the mat. Your arms are nice and straight and strong. And then gently turning your head to the left. Look at your left fingertips. And then we'll sweep our left fingertips up to the sky as we straighten out our front leg, lowering our right hand to our back leg. So we're in a reverse warrior pose. And then we're going to slowly come back into warrior two. Bring that left leg into a lunge position again, keeping your eyes on your left fingertips. And we'll do this a few times, and it's called dancing warrior. So we're going to lift our left hand up as we straighten out our left leg. Our right arm comes down, following our gaze, or our fingertips with our gaze rather. And then coming back to warrior two. Coming back into that lunge with the knees right over the ankle. Oops, extend it a little bit more. And then one last time, reverse warrior. Straightening out the knee on the left leg. And then slowly coming back to warrior two for your dancing warrior. And then we'll bring the left forearm down to the left thigh, sweeping our right hand overhead, extending it to the front of the mat, extended side angle, really feeling that nice stream of energy from our toes to our fingertips. And then bringing our right hand down to the mat, pivoting on our back foot, coming into runner's lunge. And then we're going to come into forward fold. So you're going to push off from your runner's lunge, coming into forward fold. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. Well done. We'll do that all on the other side. So sweeping our hands up again, big inhale. And big exhale, bringing your hands back down to the mat, bending your knees as you go. This time sending our left leg to the back of the mat, coming into runner's lunge. Just really feeling the strength of your legs in this position. Pushing the heel, back heel to the back of the mat. And then dropping your left hand to the mat and sweeping your right hand all the way up to the sky, following it with your gaze. And then bringing that hand back down. We'll send the right foot down to the bottom of the mat, coming into plank. Navel's tucked to the spine. Elbows are going to keep tucked in as we lower down, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. And then we'll lift our hands up off the mat as we lift our chin and chest up for baby cobra. And then bring them both back down. And then lift the chin, chest, pushing down into the hands, coming up into regular cobra. And then back down. And then for up dog, we're going to keep our hands below our shoulders and extend our arms fully, coming up onto the tops of our feet for up dog. And then bring our knees to the mat, send our hips to our ankles for child's pose. And then come back up to tabletop. Tuck the toes under, coming into downward dog. Lifting our hips up to the sky. And walk your dog here for a little bit. Perhaps envision walking your dog on your favorite trail, favorite path. Deep breaths. And then slowly walk your feet, one baby step at a time, up to your hands, coming into forward fold, and sweeping your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center, and we'll go into tree pose on the other side. So I'm going to plant my right foot nice and firm into the mat. Really feel that strength and stability in my right foot. And then lift my left leg up. Again, maintaining that nice straight mountain pose. Navel's tucked in, shoulders are relaxed. Roll back. And then I'm gonna do my favorite tree position. And each day it could change. So one day it could be with the toes on the mat, left heel against my right ankle. Or one day it could be where the inner part of my left foot's resting on my right calf. Or might be bringing it up to the thigh. And once I really connect and click with that nice feeling of stability and strength and stillness that I like from this pose, I can send my hands up overhead. And then send my hands back down to Anjali Mudra. And without bringing your foot back down to the earth, you could bring your knee forward and then send your foot back, coming into lunge position. So your right knee now is over your right ankle. Your left foot's nice and snug in the mat. Your chest is open to the long side of the mat. Excuse my back. And then sweeping your arms up to shoulder height, coming into warrior two. And then taking your gaze and sending it to your right fingertips. We'll do a little bit of dancing warrior. We're going to raise our right fingertips up as we straighten our right leg up, dropping our left hand down. And then back to warrior two, coming back into the lunge position, keeping our fingers or our eyes on our fingertips. And then lifting up once again. Right hand goes up, right leg straightens out. Left hand goes down. And then back to warrior two. Nice deep lunge position. And one last time. Lifting our right fingertips up, straightening our front leg. Have a lovely dance with our warrior. And then come back down to warrior two. And send our right forearm down to our right thigh, sweeping the left hand all the way overhead, pointing the fingertips to the front of the mat, really feeling that nice energetic flow between your toes and your fingers. And then bring your fingers back down to the mat, coming back into runner's lunge. And then we're going to push off We're gonna push down into our front leg, but also push off with our back toes, coming into runner, our forward fold rather. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And we'll bring our pinky toes out to the edges of the mat. Bringing our heels in at a 45-degree angle. Nice straight spine, back of our neck. We'll start to lower our hips toward the mat, coming into wide-legged squat. And just have your hands here at heart center, or you can bring them down toward the mat, opening up your knees just a little bit more. And then let's bring our hips back down, or our glutes back down to the mat and roll down. Again, your choice. I'm going to do express method, bringing my knees to my chest as I land on my back. So again, we're going to bring the knees to the chest and give them a little bit of hug and rock back and forth. Give our lower back a nice gentle massage. And if you like, you could draw circles with your toes for another type of massage on your lower back. They both feel great. And then we're going to do rowboats, which I'll have to admit is one of my favorites. So hands go on the tops of your kneecaps, and then we're going to extend our arms fully out toward the bottom of the mat, and then open our knees to each side, having the soles of our feet come together. I think that's my favorite part of it. And then guiding your knees back toward your shoulders, and then closing your knees over your chest again, giving them a nice hug. We'll do that a few more times, extending the arms away from you toward the bottom of the mat, sending the knees open to each side, soles of your feet stay together, and then guiding your knees back toward your shoulders, and then closing your knees over your chest. Do that 2 more times. Extend your knees out, opening them, keeping the soles of your feet together. Bring your knees toward your shoulders, closing your knees over your chest. And one last time, extending your knees away from you, opening the knees to the sides, soles are together, and bringing the knees toward your chest and closing them up over your chest and giving them a nice hug. And then we'll take our knees, actually I'm going to take our arms out first, to each side at shoulder height. And then we'll drop our knees to the right on the exhale. And then slowly turn our eyes to the left fingertips for the recline twist. And then gently turn your head back to center. Bring your knees back up to center. And exhale, lowering your knees to the left. And then gently turning your head to the right. Look at your right fingertips. And slowly turning your head back to center and lifting your legs back to center. Send both feet down to the bottom of the mat, preparing for Shavasana. Send your heels out to the corners. Just let your feet flop open. And do whatever is your favorite things to relax. Maybe it's a couple deep inhales and exhaling through your mouth, or just kind of wiggling around and just really kind of snuggling into the mat. Whatever is your favorite for that Shavasana, so that you can totally relax your whole body, your mind, and your spirit. This morning, I'm reading one of Robert Frost's poems. That's my favorite. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. It's a classic. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake as to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.